This, 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 and this. I swear that you guys are very familiar with this team composition, none other than the national team. This team composition that most Genshin players have and often to use in Spiral Abyss, of course. And we both agree that this team is very meta and very busted team which can last up to the current version in Spiral Abyss. But have we ever wondered, why do us as a player love this national team? Or the exact question like, what makes this national team feel so good and popular? It is impossible, right, for this national team to be good because of magic. Not out of nowhere, this team so good. Of course, there must be an explanation, a special reason behind it. To answer this question, this time in this video, we will talk about the national team, the reason why this team so good, behind the name, and why this team popular. Before that, if you find this video interesting and useful, click the like button and support this channel by pressing the subscribe button. Without further ado, let's dig in. So, what is the national team? Well, after I did a research on various sites and even more, so I get from the discussion in this subreddit, I got 5 assumptions that the national team name exists because number 1, the following words, these words, which are slang words or names that come from China to the name their national team, or something in common like accessible to everyone, the thing that can access from everyone, are cheap but have a good quality. Number 2, at least in every game, there is a team that can be used and accessed by all players, so that team is usually called the national team of that games, aka the national team of the game. In this case, we can also assume that Genshin Impact also be included. Number 3, taken from how strong the national team is, it can be compared to the Olympic flagship team from a country, which in this context, we can change the country with the game. So this is National Genshin Impact Team. Number 4, the origin of this team being booming or popular is because how many Chinese Genshin player base appreciate this team so much that it is becoming symbolized as the China national team, which gradually become more popular among global players until it becomes right now the national team. Number 5, this original team comes from Liyue, which can be said as the region that raised the country of China. Plus, because this team comes from Chinese players, it is also called the China National Team or National Team. If you have a further edition, new edition, you can write them in the comment section below. Okay then, let's continue. So, the national team was originally composed of Xiangling, Bennett, Xingqiu, and Chongyun. 3 Liyue characters and only 1 Mondstadt characters. This original team first appeared in version 1.0 and becoming more popular in version 1.1. However, this original team did not last long enough after many players felt that the rotation of this team is not optimal, and we did some experiments were carried out by replacing the original team, original character with another character. Thus was born the new variant of national team. It was found that the core of the national team was the deadly duo Xiangling and Bennett. So for the remaining 2 characters, the 2 slot remain can be used as quote-unquote variants. After finding this, many players made adjustments to this national team by adding new characters outside the original, with so far like including Child, Kazuha, Keiya, Sucrose, and Raiden Shogun, as well as you can add another team beside that I mentioned, the 4th character or the 4th slot, who is free to choose. You can choose free. Then, what are the variants that are often to use, so popular, the variant? International team. As the name implies, this team consists of 4 characters from 4 different regions. They are Child from Snezhnaya, Xiangling from Liyue, Kazuha from Inazuma, and also Bennett from Mondstadt. International team is one of the most teams that is often to use, especially in Spiral Abyss, because this international team have a wide damage area, making it suitable for dealing with group enemy. Rational Team or Raiden National Team. Since the presence of Raiden Shogun, the national team has become more popular, not only because it adds more damage, but the Raiden National Team can solve problems from the original national team. That is like energy recharge and team rotation. This Raiden National Team consists of Xiangling, Xingqiu, Bennett, and of course, Raiden Shogun itself. In addition to the teams above, beside international teams and rational team, sometimes there are other variants. We add other characters such as Zhongli, Sucrose, and also Abedo in 4th slot. Okay, next, we have discussed the original name and the variant of the national team. But we also have to know, why does this national team feel so good and get more popular? It is not without any reason that the national team is often used and has become the top tier team to this day. At least, as far I can see, there are 5 main reasons why this team is so good and popular. Number 1. The main unit or the main characters. As I previously mentioned, at least these following characters are popularly used. They are Xiangling, Xingqiu, Bennett, Kazuha, Tatalia or Child, Sucrose, and also Raiden Shogun. As you can see, this composition of popular characters are top tier character. Bennett, top tier buff. Xingqiu, top tier Hydro application. Kazuha and Sucrose, top tier buff and Vivi threat. Child, top tier Hydro enabler. Xiangling, with her Pyronado, it's so good have Pyro application. Raiden Shogun, top tier energy recharge provider. So do not be surprised if this team have a godly ability. Number 2. The accessibility and flexibility of the national team. If we look closely, this national team can be said to be easy to make and easy to change its composition. What does this mean? This means that every player almost can make this national team, because basically the existing characters can be said to be easy to get, at least that's how it is. Like Xiangling can be obtained from Spiral Abyss floors 3-3, and for other 4-star characters like Xingqiu, Bennett, and Sucrose, if you have played the game for a long time enough, at least for more than 5 months, and also sometimes active gacha banners, then you have a pretty high chance that you have a 4-star characters like Xingqiu, Bennett, and Sucrose. And for the 5-star character like Tatalia or Child, Kazuha, and Shogun, well, if you have them, it will add more value to the national team performance. But if you don't, it's okay, because you can replace with other characters. For example, Child, you can change Child with Xingqiu, or Kazuha, you can change Kazuha with Sucrose, and the Shogun, you can change the Shogun by visual. Number 3. The reaction. One of the things that makes national team is great, and not all players realize, is the elemental reaction that national team can provide. You know, this national team is able to take 5 elemental reactions in the game: Vaporize, Swirl, Melt, Explosion, and also Electrocharge, depending on the composition of the character we use. For example, Raiden National Team consists of Xiangling, Xingqiu, Bennett, and Raiden Shogun. Here we can see that this team took 3 reactions at once: Vaporize, Explosion, and Electrocharge. You can see this elemental reaction does not occur only once, but at the same time. 3 reactions at the same time. The proof is that we will often see this colors number, right, appear scattered on the screen, indicating that the elemental reaction has been occurred. The color numbers means the elemental reaction damage. We should have known that in Genshin Impact, elemental reaction are fundamental, are an important core to produce consistent and high damage. Number 4. The rotation. What I mean the rotation here that national team is easy to use. Even with blindfolds, we can still use the national team. This happened because almost all the skill and ulti characters in the national team do not require a complicated sequence and do not take a long time. The average characters is 4-star character, so the ultimate doesn't take a long animation. The average character's skills have a short duration, do not depending on one character only, and there is no need for us to follow special complicated sequence to carry out the attack. Well, there is, but we do not follow that. It's also okay. And lastly, it doesn't take a long time for us to see the result. It's easy to see the result. So many numbers, so many damage appear on the screen. And lastly, the weapons and artifacts. Characters in the national team are pretty lucky because they can access type of weapons and artifacts that are considered very good and suitable for them. For example, Bandit and Xingqiu have wide choice of sword weapon variants. Xiangling and Raiden Shogun have access to emblem set artifacts. So Cross and Kazuha have access to web validation veneral artifacts, and so forth. So it's not surprising that building a national team is easy. Despite its many advantages, in fact, the national teams also has its drawbacks. The biggest drawback is that national team is quite quote-unquote expensive. Previously, I said that this team is quote-unquote easy, right, to make, but why is it expensive right now? Well, it is quote-unquote easy to make, but that doesn't mean it's not expensive. National team requires an investment of time and materials. At least in terms of artifacts, the characters in the national team need a godly or decent artifact stat on average to make the whole team work. In addition, character talent and character constellation have an effect on increasing the performance of this national team. So you can say it like national team really depends on talent and constellation. Well, we should have known together that talent, especially constellation, are not pretty cheap, both in terms of material, mora, and primogems. We need more material and mora and primogem to build a pretty good national team. And that's it. That's the explanation of the national team. Now you know what the national team is, why is it called like that, and the reason why this team is so good and popular. I hope you enjoy this video. If you have any requests for other explanation, like other explanation for other team, or certain character or certain topic, you can write it in the comment section below. I really appreciate any suggestion from you guys. Thank you for watching. Hello Zen here and see you in the next video.